Welcome to Lake Wheeler, and the final stop for the Southeast ever starts. I had a pretty good tournament, had a real good practice. This is the first fish I caught during practice, and it's the first bite that really clued me in on what was going on and what I'd do this week.
A little butterball. Still peeing, trying to get ready to spawn. It's funny, on Lake Gunnersville 3 months ago, the water temp was 59 degrees during practice. I caught them on a football jig. That was in February. Now we're early May on Wheeler. Had a cold front come through. The water temp's 59 degrees. You gotta love Alabama weather. But the good news is they're still biting the football head.
The first fish wasn't really that big, but it's a crucial part in where my game plan started coming together. Right off the bat, I figured out what I wanted to do, especially after I got this next bite.
What I'm talking about right there, baby. Another chunk. 2 fish and about 5 casts. Let that tell you a little something about what's going on out here right now. 3-pounder.
I only ended up getting 1 full day of practice and about 4 more hours. So this is actually what I was doing to try to rule this out. I was going to try to rule out the deep bite and then go fish shallow. And I got a lot of bites during this 1 full day of practice, including this nice smallmouth and several more good smallmouth throughout practice and the tournament.
It's a good little smallmouth there. What you want to see? Nice little small jaws. Choke that jig too. Strike King Rage Crawl. Got it.
I think that trailer's pretty important there. It's a full-size rage crawl. Gives the bait a bigger profile, and I think it just gives you bigger bites. It may be a personal preference, but the fish this day, I probably caught 45 fish, and I don't think but maybe 3 of them were non-keepers. So it really worked out quite well with that big trailer on it. It's the same trailer I used on Gunnersville. See this fish here, I caught on a crankbait, Series 5 XD. Most of these fish came on a big jig with that Strike King Rage Call trailer, but I did get it on a little cranking deal too, where I caught a few on it during practice and during the tournament. But all these fish came on that jig and really had me excited about day 1. After running all over the lake and catching fish on that jig, it's really hard to put it down, but sometimes it's all about knowing when to throw, what to throw. And here I made a good call and got fortunate.
Better fish. Yes! Good fish. Good fish. Good job. Good right there. That's one of them I needed right there. Good fish. Choked it.
When a fish gets a bait like that, you know you got the right combination going between the color and the size and the depth and everything else. So it's really good to see that early on day 1. And honestly, I thought I was going to crush them. I thought it was going to go along just like it did during practice, but we had a little snafu and it got kind of difficult throughout the day to catch big fish. I ended up catching this 4-pound smallmouth here and then another solid largemouth on the crankbait. And ran around and caught a couple on a jig and one more good one, but for the most part, it was a tough day and a rather disappointing day one. I knew I was going to have about 17 or 18 a day to make the cut, and that sounds unheard of on Wheeler, but just the sheer amount of big fish that were biting, you could tell it was going to take some serious weight to do good this week. So I was kind of aggravated whenever I stumbled on day one and fell short of what I had planned for myself. And at the end of the day, it was, pretty accurate guesstimate. I think 18 pounds was sitting in 10.
3-pounder.
I absolutely love throwing a football jig. There's just something about that bite and getting the lid into them as hard as you can. I love it. And this one felt real good early on day one.
Oh, good fish. Well, that's what you need. That's what you need. That's a good thing. Good fish. Good fish, man.
A little chunk.
Like I said, unfortunately, I came in with about 14 pounds on day one, had me sitting in 42nd place. The weights were stacked real tight. I just had to go out on day two and try to get things straightened out. Day two was a huge contrast from day one weather-wise. You see here we got a lot of wind and a lot of waves. Really made filling that jig difficult. And I wanted to pick up a spinnerbait. I wanted to throw something else, but I didn't have any confidence in anything else. I didn't get to practice with anything else, so I just decided to stick with what I'd done well on, try to make it work for me.
He's jumping like a small man. Barely had him. How'd I get going?
I lost a smallmouth about 3 or 4 pounds right at the boat early on, and between that one, the one I just caught, and this one right here, I would have had a pretty good start to the day, but right after this fish catch, it kind of went south. I caught several more fish, several small fish. I just couldn't really cull up, and I couldn't get any of those bigger bites that I'd been getting during that one day of practice, and on the first day of the tournament I had a few, but it just really kind of dwindled down on me, and I just had several small fish. It was very frustrating when you have big fish that you know are in the area. You know there's a bunch of them, and you just can't get them to bite, and you can't figure out exactly what's going on. So I tried to adjust, tried to run around and scramble a little bit, and this is early in the morning on day two, and about 12:30 I decided I better just go ahead and try to figure something else out. I made about a 30-minute run, fished for 30 minutes, said I made a mistake, ran back out here and went down the same bluff again one more time, and it actually ended up paying off really well.
Dig it. Yeah! Yes! Thank you. Woo! Alright, 2 more of them and I'll be alright. I'm thankful for her right now, baby. Good, baby.
Motion started running pretty hot at this point. I was excited. I'd bailed on what I've been doing, and I decided to go back out and do it one more time, give it one more shot, and it ended up working out with that good bite. And it's funny how things work out. You hear me there say 2 more like this and I'll be alright. I get another one right here and I actually get one more big bite before I had to go in. This was all within the last hour and 15 minutes of my day.
Got more big. Yeah! Thank you. Sir. Woo. Good.
Ended up getting one more really good bite, and it's this big smallmouth you see here on the left. Unfortunately, I didn't get her on camera. I had a GoPro rookie moment, and I couldn't find my cards in the last few minutes, and caught that fish with about 5 minutes to go before I had to run in. So I was just glad to get her in the boat. Had a great tournament, ended up 18th, finished 5th in the points for AOY. Overall, it was a great year. You know, I'd like to have done better at Seminole and could have had a better run at AOY, but can't catch them every time, and I just had a great time. Thanks to all my sponsors, FishFlics.com, and all the rest of you guys. Couldn't do it without you. Appreciate it.